This is the Fender American Professional II Stratocaster. I've had quite a few questions about this guitar recently, and I made a video a couple of days ago, which I'll link just here. And it seems that quite a few people stumbled across that one because they were looking for information about these guitars. So I thought I'd make a quick video just to talk about some of the things I like about it, maybe some of the things I don't quite like about it, and also just kind of demonstrate some of the tones and some of the sounds you can get from it. So let's jump into it. The Fender American Professional II range of guitars, it came out in October 2020. So, coming up to 5 years ago now. So is this guitar still relevant in 2025? Well, I think it is. I've actually only owned this one for just over 18 months. I got it in January 2024. I bought it because I actually already have an HSS Fender Strat, which is a Mexican model. It's a great guitar. I think it's a Fender Deluxe Stratocaster. So it has lots of the same features as the American Pro II, in that it has, as I said, HSS setup. It has a kind of, I don't know if you can see that, the heel has been cut out, so you have better access to the upper frets. But that one also has noiseless pickups, which I'm not really a fan of. They serve a purpose and they serve it well. But in my opinion, they don't sound as good as, I guess, non-noiseless pickups. So I used that guitar for a while. Also, it has a maple fretboard, which I prefer rosewood. And it also has a 70s headstock, which looks great. I love it on things like the Tom DeLonge Strat. But for me, I prefer the kind of traditional sort of 50s, 60s style headstock. So yeah, for a number of reasons, I decided to, I guess, upgrade that guitar. I was playing more gigs, I was playing more regularly, and I wanted something which sounded a bit more like a Strat, I guess. And I realized I could have just changed the pickups, but I really wanted a rosewood board on my Strat. So I saw it as an opportunity to kind of see what was available on the market. This actually came up on Guitar, which is a store here in the UK. And it was secondhand, so I didn't really know sort of what it looked like, what it played like. It wasn't something I could just go in and try out because I think it was in Scotland at the time. So I kind of took a punt. I thought I'd go for it and just see what the guitar was about. And off the bat, I was really pleased. I was really happy with it. So mine is, as you can see, it's the HSS variant. It's got the humbucker in the bridge. It's Miami blue. I've talked about this before. It's a really hard color to kind of like photograph a video. It's like a greeny sort of blue. I love it. I think it looks great. It's super unique. It's not a very Fender color. It's not very traditional in my opinion, but it does look cool. I get a lot of compliments on it. And yeah, it works for me. So it's got as I said, it's got the HSS pickups. This is a double tap humbucker, which I'm not sure if it was a new model that they brought out for these guitars, but it's not one that I've used before. And it's also got these V-Mod single coils. They sound great. I really like them. I haven't changed them. I've not felt the need to change them. We also have 5-way switch, volume 2 tones. The second tone has a tap, so it splits the humbucker. I'll show you what that sounds like in a second. I actually really like this where the whole pot can be tapped rather than just having like a little button or you have to pull it out. This seems much more kind of tactile. It's just easier to use when you're playing live. In terms of the rest of the guitar, I think it's a 9.5-inch radius, which is kind of the sweet spot for me. I have changed the tuners on here. See if you can see that. There we go, boom, lock-in tuners. This is just my personal preference. There's nothing wrong with the tuners that come with the guitar. I just find them easier for string changes. I change the strings on my guitars quite regularly because I play quite a lot of gigs. And the strings I use, which are the D'Addario NYXL 10 to 46 set, I can only really get a couple of gigs out of them because I have quite sweaty hands when I play. When you're playing sort of 2 hours a night, you're not going to get as many kind of minutes as hours you'd like out of those strings. So yeah, lock and tuners, that was a bit of a ramble, apologies. In terms of the rest of the guitar, there isn't really anything else to report. Like I said, it has the heel where it's been cut out slightly, which is really cool. It also has one of these little Allen key adjustments where rather than having a shim in the neck pocket, you can adjust this and just tilt the neck slightly. I do actually have a very slight tilt on this one, but it's not really needed. It's just kind of my personal preference. It's just how I have the guitar set up because I like a really low action. In terms of when the guitar arrived, it had clearly been played, it clearly been used, but it also been looked after. So there was, you know, it wasn't like there was any paint missing from it. Everything was working as expected. The only thing that I did need to do, and I talked about this in the other video, was some of the frets were kind of buzzing out in strange places. So I took it to a luthier who kind of had a quick look and couldn't really see anything obviously wrong with it, but did recommend perhaps doing like a crown and polish on the frets. So I did that. I leveled the frets, I crowned and polished them. I did it myself, which was quite daunting, but I did it on a much cheaper guitar first, just to kind of figure out the process. And it's completely changed how the guitar plays. So, you know, no shade to Fender quality control, but it didn't seem as though the frets had ever been leveled on this guitar. And I've noticed it on some of my others as well, that it is something that does just kind of make your guitar play that kind of little bit nicer. But anyway, enough rambling from me. Let's jump into it. So I'm using the Helix Native plugin today, just because it's just easier than miking up an amp, and I can demonstrate some different tones. So just in terms of the sorts of sounds, the sort of things that I use, this is just a kind of like a typical Fender Deluxe, like a blackface amp. So this is on the bridge pickup, this is on the humbucker. Just to hear that tapped. And when I say tapped, I just mean like coil tap, so I've split the coil. So second position with the humbucker and the middle pickup. Just again with that humbucker split. So you get that really nice kind of classic Fender second position sound, which I really like. The middle pickup, which I never really use on its own, but you might want to use it. Does actually sound quite nice. I guess it's kind of that Goldilocks pickup where you don't really get the bite from the bridge, but you still get some of the warmth from the neck pickup. It's a bit of both. So fourth position. Bit sloppy, apologies for that. It's the quintessential fourth position. It's the one that I probably use, I guess, the most, rather than, well, that and the bridge pickup. Certainly when I play in the 80s band, we play a lot of really funky tunes. So things like Haircut 100, Wham, even some like Spandau Ballet tracks are super funky. the fourth position has to be used for those. It just sounds great. It's that iconic sound. I guess just to demonstrate what that would sort of sound like. Maybe I wouldn't use this kind of sound, something more like a DI. But yeah, just back to the Deluxe. Last but not least, the neck pickup. Really nice sound. This is a great neck pickup on this guitar. It's really great. It's a bit of a cliche now, but it kind of gets you that John Mayer sort of tone. I can't play like John Mayer, but I can try and sound like him. So yeah, that's really what the pickups sound like. In terms of other tones, I guess maybe something with a bit more hair on it. This is the Buck Mild preset in the Helix. I'm guessing it's something from my good friend Chris Buck. He's not my good friend. I have met him and he's a really nice guy. Again, can't play like him, but this is what his preset sounds like. So back to the first position humbucker. And that split. Second position. Fourth position. Last but not least, neck position. Cool, and then I guess just to demonstrate as well, it's if you've watched my other video, you'll hear me say countless times what a versatile guitar this is. It does the heavy thing really well, particularly with this humbucker. It's not a super high output humbucker, but it's really clear. You get great note separation. It's, like I said, it's not something that I've ever felt the need to change. I've had a lot of guitars and I've put things like Seymour Duncan JBs. I've got Radio Shop PAFs in my Les Paul, which sound amazing and I love, but I just don't need to change this pickup. I may change that one day, I may get tired of it, but certainly for the time being, this really does it all. Just to kind of demonstrate some of the heavier sounds that you can get from it. This is the Trev Lukather solo patch if anyone's interested. I'm just going to take the delay off just so you can kind of hear it with, I guess, a bit cleaner. So yeah, that's the Fender American Pro II Strat. Like I said, I've had this one for about 18 months. I've done loads of gigs on it. I use it in the drum and bass band. I use it in the 80s band as my main guitar. I haven't used it in the country band yet, but if I wanted to, I certainly could. It's a really great all-round guitar. I strongly recommend, if you get the chance to try one out, you should. I've played lots of different Fenders over time, lots of different Stratocasters. I've tried some really cool ones. I used to have a custom shop Strat. Between this and my Eric Johnson Strat, I think I prefer these. I'm certainly much less concerned about taking them out and using them and playing them at gigs and things like that. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, or if you've got something from it, please give it a like. If you've got one of these guitars, or if you've got the Jag, the Tele, the P bass, the Jazz bass from this series, just drop a note in the comments. Let me know what you think about it. I'm genuinely interested in sort of hearing how you get on with them, what you think of these guitars. If you'd like to kind of hear more about these sorts of things, or if you'd like to, I guess, know about more videos from myself, I'm pretty new to this. I'm still kind of figuring out what I want to do. But yeah, please subscribe. If you have any kind of ideas for other videos that you'd like to see, again, just drop me a comment. I'd love to hear your thoughts. But yeah, that's it from me. Once again, thanks for checking out the video. Really appreciate you sticking around till the end, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.